Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We are discussing about our muscle stretch reflex. Receptors for the stretch. I told you that muscle spindles, their number depends upon that the muscle is used for fine scale movement. Their number is more in muscles used for fine scale movements. And these are present along the long axis of the muscle, and their ends are fused with the sides of the muscle fibers. There are two types of interfusal fibers inside the muscle spindle. Nuclear bag fibers. The nuclei are in the center dilated portion, and nuclear chain fibers, where nuclei are arranged in the form of a chain. Now about the sensory innervation of intrafusal fibers. Sensory innervation of the intrafusal fibers. Two types of nerve endings innervate intrafusal fibers. So two types of nerve endings: primary and secondary nerve endings. Primary and secondary nerve endings. Primary nerve endings are the nerve endings of group 1A, group 1A nerve fibers. Now the group 1A nerve fibers, their diameter is about 17 micrometer. So 17 micrometer is the diameter of the group 1A nerve fiber, and the velocity of conduction along these fibers is 70 to 180 meter per second. 70 to 180 meter per second is the velocity of conduction. Right? Now, primary nerve endings are wrapped around the center portion of both nuclear bag and nuclear chain fibers. So primary nerve endings are wrapped around the center portion of both the nuclear bag and nuclear chain fibers. You see, group 1A fibers, the primary nerve endings, wrapped around the center portion of both the nuclear bag and nuclear chain fibers. The other nerve endings are the secondary nerve endings. Secondary nerve endings. These are nerve endings of group 2 nerve fibers. So group 2 nerve fibers, their nerve endings are the secondary nerve endings. Group 2 nerve fibers, their diameter is about 8 micrometer. So 8 micrometer is diameter of group 2 nerve fibers, and the velocity is about 70 meter per second. 70 meter per second. Secondary nerve endings, along with group 2 nerve fibers, are wrapped around only the nuclear chain fibers. You see, group 2 fibers with secondary nerve endings are wrapped around only the nuclear chain fibers, not the nuclear bag fibers. Nuclear chain fibers only, right? Not nuclear bag fibers. So here I ask you, which interfusal fibers have both type of nerve endings? The nuclear chain fibers have both the primary as well as secondary nerve endings. But nuclear bag fibers, they have got only one nerve ending, that is the primary, nerve ending. So this was about the sensory nerve ending innervation of intrafusal fibers. Now about the motor innervation, motor innervation of the intrafusal fiber. Motor innervation is through gamma efferent fibers. Gamma efferent fibers. So gamma efferent fibers, they give the motor innervation. So motor innervation of intraphyseal fibers is through gamma efferents. Gamma efferents. Gamma efferents innervate end portion of the intrafusal fibers. So gamma efferents innervate the inner portion, the end portion of the intrafusal fiber. You see, end portion of the intrafusal fiber innervated by the gamma efferent nerve fiber. Diameter of the gamma efferent fibers is 3 to 6. So 3 to 6 millimeter mercury, 3 to 6 micrometer. Micrometer is the diameter of the gamma efferent, 3 to 6 micrometer. And the velocity of conduction along gamma efferent is 15 to 30 meter per second. Gamma efferents come out of the spinal cord through the ventral root of the spinal nerve. Gamma efferents come out of the spinal cord through the ventral root of the spinal nerves. So gamma efferents give the motor innervation to the intrafusal fiber. Now I told you last time that the end portions of the intrafusal fibers contain actin and myosin filaments. So these are contractile. So keep in mind, end portion of the intrafusal fibers are contractile. It means these can contract. Why? Because these contain actin and myosin filament. While the center portion of the intrafusal fibers or center portion of the muscle spindle is without actin myosin filament, it is non-contractile. It is non-contractile. Now keep in mind, muscle spindles are excited whenever their center portion is stretched. So don't forget that the muscle spindles are excited when their central portion is stretched. Now how are muscle spindles excited? Muscle spindles are excited in two ways. First one is stretching of the muscle or increased length of the muscle results into stretching of the central portion of the muscle spindle, and this results into the excitation of the muscle spindle. So stretching of the muscle or increased length of the muscle results into stretching of the central portion of the muscle spindle, and this results into excitation of the muscle spindle. And when muscle spindles are excited, nerve impulses are transmitted along group A and group 1A and group 2 fibers to the spinal cord. Right? So muscle spindles are excited, impulses are conducted along group 1A and group 2 fibers to the spinal cord. So one way to excite muscle spindle is stretching of the muscle or increased length of the muscle. The other way to stimulate, to excite muscle spindles is internal stretching. And that is when impulses come along gamma efferents to the end portion of intrafusal fibers. Impulses come along gamma efferents to the end portion of the intrafusal fiber. End portions contract. End portions of the intrafusal fibers contract. When these contract, what will be the effect on the central portion? Stretched. So when impulses come along the gamma effects to the end portion of the interfacial fibers, end portions of the interfacial fibers contract, shortens, and this results into stretching of the central portion of the intrafusal fibers. And when central portion is stretched, there is excitation of the muscle spindle. So this is the internal stretching of the muscle spindle which results into its excitation. We can say that muscle spindles can be excited without stretch of the muscle. So muscle spindles can be excited without stretch of the muscle, that is the internal stretching. Impulses come along the gamma efferents to the end portion of the muscle spindle. End portions contract, shorten. This results into stretching of the central portion, and that leads to the excitation of the muscle spindle. So keep in mind, when muscle spindle's central portion is stretched, there is excitation of the muscle spindle. Now keep in mind, when central portion of the muscle spindle shortens, muscle spindles are inhibited. When central portion of the spindle is shortened, there is inhibition of the muscle spindle. So we have discussed that muscle spindles are excited when there is stretching of the muscle. So stretching of the muscle, it results into excitation of the muscle spindle. You see here, muscle spindle stretches. This is the rate of discharge of impulses at rest. And when muscle stretches or muscle spindle stretches, there is increase in the discharge of impulses from the muscle spindle along its sensory nerve fibers to spinal cord. And when muscle contracts, it means muscle shortens. When muscle shortens, along with that, muscle spindle also shorten. And you see, this results into decreased discharge of impulses from the muscle spindle. So when muscle stretches, discharge of impulsive muscle spindle increases. This results into muscle contraction. And when muscle contracts, there is decreased discharge of impulses from the muscle spindle. So muscle relaxes. So muscle undergoes relaxation when discharge of impulses from muscle spindle decreases. So muscle undergoes relaxation when discharge of impulses from muscle spindle decreases. So keep in mind, when muscle spindle is stretched, basically its central portion is stretched, discharge of impulses from muscle spindle increases. And this results into muscle contraction. When muscle contracts, muscle shortens, it means central portion of muscle spindle is shortened. So discharge of impulsive muscle spindle decreases, and decreased discharge from muscle spindle, it results into muscle relaxation. Muscle relaxation. There are two types of stretch. Static stretch and dynamic stretch. Static means slow, continuous. Dynamic means quick. So two types of stretch, static and dynamic. So when a static stretch is applied to the muscle or muscle spindle, and a static stretch is applied to the muscle or muscle spindle, discharge of impulses from both primary and secondary nerve endings increases. So static stretch is applied to the muscle or muscle spindle. Discharge of impulses along both the primary and secondary nerve endings increases. And this increased discharge is proportional to the degree of stretch. This impulse discharge, it's proportional to the degree of stretch. More stretch, more will be the discharge of impulses from the muscle spindle along the primary and secondary nerve endings. This increased discharge remains as long as the muscle is stretched. This increased discharge, it persists as long as the muscle is stretched. Now, which interphyseal fiber has both type of nerve endings, primary and secondary? Nuclear chain fibers. So nuclear chain fibers have got both type of nerve ending, primary and secondary nerve ending. So keep in mind, don't forget that nuclear chain fibers are involved in response to static stretch. Nuclear chain fibers are involved in response to static stretch because both nerve endings, primary and secondary, these are present along the nuclear chain fibers. So always keep in mind that nuclear chain fibers are involved in response to static stretch. Now when a dynamic stretch, quick stretch is applied to the muscle or muscle spindle. When a quick stretch, dynamic stretch is applied to the muscle spindle or the muscle fiber, there is marked increase in the discharge of impulses from primary nerve endings. So in quick stretch, dynamic stretch, there is marked increase in the discharge of impulses from the primary nerve endings. And this marked increase in the nerve impulses discharge from primary nerve endings, it persists as long as the muscle is quickly stretched. So this discharge of impulses, it remains as long as the muscle is rapidly stretched. When this rapid stretch terminates, this increased discharge, it comes back to the basal level. When quick discharge, it terminates, it ends, the discharge of impulses come back to the basal level. So in response to quick or dynamic stretch, from which nerve ending there is marked increase in the nerve impulse discharge? From the primary. Which intraphyseal fibers is innervated by the primary nerve ending? The nuclear bag fibers. So nuclear bag fibers are innervated only by the primary nerve ending. So nuclear bag fibers are involved in response to dynamic stretch. Nuclear bag fibers are involved in response to dynamic stretch. So in response to static stretch, which intraphyseal fibers are involved? Nuclear chain fibers. In response to dynamic stretch, which intraphyseal fibers are involved? Nuclear bag fibers. Primary nerve endings respond to both increase in the length of the muscle and rate of increase in the length of the muscle. So keep in mind, primary nerve endings respond to both increase in the length of the muscle as well as rate of increase in the length of the muscle. while the other nerve endings, the second nerve endings, these respond to only increase in the length of the muscle. Secondary nerve endings respond to only increase in the length of the muscle. So primary nerve endings respond to both increase in the length of the muscle and rate of increase in the length of the muscle. Secondary nerve endings respond to only increase in the length of the muscle. Right? So this is response of these muscle spindle to the static stretch and the dynamic stretch. I told you that tendon jerks are the stretch reflex. These are the stretch reflex. You have elicited the knee jerk in your practicals. Now with the patellar hammer, clinical hammer, you tap, you strike the tendon of the quadriceps. Right? When you tap the tendon of the quadriceps, there is stretching of the quadriceps, stretching of the quadriceps. So muscle spindles are stretched, excited. There is excitation of the muscle spindle. Impulses from muscle spindle go along sensory fibers, 1A and group 2, to spinal cord, where these nerve fibers synapse, these synapse with the alpha motor neurons. These synapse with the alpha motor neurons. So these alpha motor neurons are excited and impulses come along alpha motor nerve fibers to quadriceps, quadriceps contract, and leg moves forward like a jerk. Leg moves forward like a jerk. This is the knee jerk. Knee jerk. What is stimulus? Stretch of the quadriceps. Receptors, muscle spindles, which are excited. Impulses go along with sensory nerve fiber to the spinal cord, where these excite alpha motor neurons. And from alpha motor neurons, impulses come to quadriceps. It contracts, leg moves, jerk forward, and this is the knee jerk, right? So this contraction of quadriceps is the response. Which segments of spinal cord are involved in the knee jerk? L3, 4. So number 3, 4, these are involved as a segment of spinal cord in the knee jerk. So this is the example of the stretch reflex, the knee jerk. The knee jerk. We mentioned about the gamma effects, which innervates the end portion of the intrafusal fibers. Right? There are two types of gamma effects. Keep in mind, gamma effects increases sensitivity of the muscle spindle to stretch. Gamma effects increase sensitivity of the muscle spindle to stretch. Gamma effects increase sensitivity of the muscle spindle to stretch. There are two types of the gamma effects, static and dynamic. Static and dynamic types of the gamma effect. Static gamma effects increase sensitivity of the muscle spindle to static stretch. So static gamma effects increase sensitivity of muscle spindle to static stretch. Dynamic gamma effects, these increase sensitivity of the muscle spindle to dynamic stretch. Dynamic gamma effects increase sensitivity of muscle spindle to dynamic stretch. Right? So this was about the stretch reflex. Stretch reflex. Now we come to the functions of the muscle spindle. Functions of the muscle spindle. Muscle spindles regulate length of the muscle. Muscle spindles regulate length of the muscle. These prevent the muscle length to go beyond limits. These prevent the muscle length to go beyond limits. Not too much increase in the length, not too much shortening. Not too much increase in the muscle length, not too much shortening of the muscle. Now when muscle is stretched, as a response, it contracts. So too much stretching, too much increase in the length of the muscle is prevented. So when muscle stretches, it contracts. So increase in the length, too much is prevented. And when muscle contracts, it shortens. Muscle undergoes relaxation. Why? Because when muscle shortens, muscle contracts, there is shortening of the muscle spindle. Discharge of impulses from muscle spindle decreases, inhibited, and this results into muscle relaxation. I have discussed that when discharge of impulse in muscle spindle decreases, the muscle undergoes relaxation. So muscle is stretched, it contracts. So too much stretching of muscle is prevented. When muscle shortens, discharge of impulses from muscle spindle decreases, and this results into muscle relaxation. Right? So too much stretching, too much shortening is prevented. And that is why we say that muscle spindles regulate length of the muscle, and these prevent the muscle length to go beyond limits. The next function of muscle spindle is that muscle spindles are involved in the muscle tone mechanism. Involved in the muscle tone mechanism. In the muscle tone mechanism. We'll discuss later in detail. Then, muscle spindles are the receptors for the clinically tested tendon jerks. So during clinical examination, we test the tendon jerks. And what are the receptors for these jerks? Muscle spindles. The other function is that muscle spindles stabilize body position during tense actions. Muscle spindles stabilize body position during tense action. So muscle spindles stabilize body position during tense actions. There is alpha and gamma co-activation. There is alpha and gamma co-activation. It means alpha and gamma motor neurons are activated simultaneously, and this makes the movement smooth. Alpha and gamma motor neurons are activated simultaneously, and this makes the movement smooth. It makes the movement smooth. So this was about the function of the muscle spindle. Now regarding the stretch reflex, in which muscle spindles are the receptors, keep in mind that stretch reflex is involved in lifting loads, in lifting weight. So stretch reflex is involved in lifting load or lifting weight. I want to lift this up. When I lift this up, So what change occurs in this muscle? It is stretched. It is stretched. So flexors of the arm are stretched. When these are stretched, these contract. So I am able to lift this object. So keep in mind that stretch reflex is involved in lifting load or weight. When we want to lift the object, the flexors of the forearm and the arm, these are stretched. So these contract, and we are able to lift the load or the weight. So this was about the functions of the muscle spindle first, and then the function of the stretch reflex. You know, we test the clinically the tendon jerks. Why? What is significance? Tendon jerks are exaggerated, hyperactive, brisk in upper motor neuron region. So tendon jerks become hyperactive, exaggerated in upper motor neuron region. Tendon jerks are diminished or absent in lower motor neuron region. Tendon jerks are diminished or absent in lower motor neuron region. This is the clinical significance of the tendon jerks. These become exaggerated, hyperactive, brisk in upper motor neuron region, or these become diminished or absent in lower motor neuron region. What is clonus? Clonus is regular rhythmic contraction of the muscle. Regular rhythmic contraction of the muscle when it is subjected to sudden maintained stretch. When subjected to sudden maintained stretch. So clonus is regular rhythmic contraction of the muscle when it is subjected to sudden maintained stretch. Clonus is present in upper motor neuron region and also in decerebrate rigidity. Also in decerebrate rigidity and upper motor neuron region. Now in these conditions, there is increased gamma effect discharge. In these conditions, there is increased gamma effect discharge. Right? So stretch reflex become facilitated. So facilitation of the stretch reflex due to increased gamma effect discharge, it results into the clonus. Clonus is present in the upper motor neuron region and the decerebrate rigidity. So this was about the clinical application or significance of the tendon jerks. I told you that muscle spindles are involved in the mechanism of muscle tone. What is muscle tone? Muscle tone is continuous state of partial muscle contraction. Continuous state of partial muscle contraction in muscles at rest. So continuous state of partial muscle contraction in muscles at rest is the muscle tone. In the muscle tone mechanism, there is involvement of gamma effects, muscle spindles, and the stretch reflex. So involvement of the gamma effects, muscle spindles, and the stretch reflex. Because of involvement of the stretch reflex in muscle tone mechanism, It is also called myotatic reflex. So because of involvement of the stretch reflex in the muscle tone mechanism, it is also called as myotatic reflex. At rest, there is some continuous gamma effect discharge. At rest, there is some continuous gamma effect discharge. This discharge, gamma effect discharge, it goes to the end portions of the intraphyseal fiber. So gamma effect discharge goes to the end portion of intraphyseal fibers. End portions of intraphyseal fibers are contractile. These contract, these shorten. So when there is contraction or shortening of the end portion of the intraphyseal fibers, there is stretching of. There is stretching of the central portion of the intraphyseal fiber. There is stretching of the central portion of the intraphyseal fibers. So muscle spindles are excited. Impulses go along the sentinel fibers to spinal cord, where these stimulate alpha motor neurons. Where these stimulate alpha motor neurons. And from alpha motor neurons, impulses come along alpha motor neural fibers to the muscle to produce their contraction. So this is the mechanism, muscle tone mechanism. I told you at rest there is some continuous gamma effect discharge. This gamma effect discharge goes to the end portion of the intraphyseal fibers. End portions of intraphyseal fibers contract, shorten, resulting into stretching of the central portion of the intraphyseal fibers. And when central portion of the intraphyseal fibers are stretched, there is excitation of the muscle spindle. From the muscle spindle, impulses go along sentinel fibers to spinal cord, where these excite alpha motor neurons. From alpha motor neurons, impulses come along alpha motor nerve fibers to the muscles to cause their contraction. This is the muscle tone mechanism. Gamma effect discharge. Gamma effect discharge is controlled by a bulboreticular facilitatory area in the brainstem. So gamma effect discharge is controlled by a bulboreticular facilitatory area in the brainstem. When there is more gamma effect discharge, more will be there will be more activity of the stretch reflex, and more will be the muscle tone. Right? So more gamma effect discharge, more sensitivity of the stretch reflex, so more will be the muscle tone. Right? The normal influence of the cerebral cortex and basal ganglia on the stretch reflex and gamma effects is inhibitory. So normal influence of the cerebral cortex, basal ganglia on the stretch reflex and gamma effect discharge is inhibitory. That is why when there is lesion of the cerebral cortex and basal ganglia, there is increased muscle tone, increased stretch reflex, right? So when there is lesion of the cerebral cortex and basal ganglia, there is hypertonia or rigidity, because their normal influence is inhibitory on the stretch reflex, gamma effect discharge and muscle tone. The normal influence of cerebellum on the muscle tone, stretch reflex and gamma effect discharge is facilitated. So normal influence of the cerebellum on the muscle tone, stretch reflex, and gamma effect is facilitatory. That is why in cerebellar disease, there is hypotonia. In cerebellar disease, there is hypotonia. Keep in mind, in upper motor neuron region, there is hypertonia or rigidity, and in lower motor neuron region, there is hypotonia or atonia. So hypertonia in upper motor neuron region and hypotonia or atonia in lower motor neuron region. So this was about the muscle tone, its mechanism, and then the influence of the cerebral cortex and basal ganglia and cerebellum on the muscle tone, stretch reflex, and the gamma effect discharge.